the defense. I'm a little concerned about it. I feel like coming into this, or every season, we just assume the defense is going to be great because it always is. But if you step back, for a defense to be consistently great 5 years in a row, 3 coordinators deep, would be kind of remarkable. And so far, I think there's some questions. Like, what we've seen from the defense in the preseason hasn't been good. They haven't been really stopping the run. And then today, they got diced up by all 3 quarterbacks. And, I mean, I don't know that any of them are elite, but they all looked elite today. Bosa's not there. There's no word on when he's coming back. The new coordinator hasn't had a super great track record. I'm concerned.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's some reason to be concerned too, especially you start looking at the nickel. I think Steve Wilkes hinted today that they might go with dual nickel, right? They might have Isaiah Oliver on like more rundowns, Diamador Lenore on passing downs. There's a lot going on there, like the defensive line, the depth there. Hargrave so far hasn't panned out, at least in practice and in preseason games like we were hoping. He looks a little, if I'm being honest, a little.
Am I the only one? Am I the only one that noticed that? I mean, he looks a little bigger than he did in Philly. Maybe it's the gold pants. Maybe they're not slimming. But he also seems like the guy with his hands on his hips after every play.
Yeah, I mean, he just doesn't – he hasn't – I've been watching him closely in the preseason games, and I haven't seen much from him. So that's definitely something to look for. Kinlaw seems to be – I don't know. He was sick last week, so we'll see. But he had a really strong training camp, but you're not seeing it during the games.
He's really good in training camp. He's really good in practice. Yeah, but it would have been nice if he could have played in this last preseason game. He'll have another one coming up on Friday.
So we'll see how that goes. I mean, there's a couple of surprises. Like I think Marlon Davidson has looked pretty good on the defensive line. But overall, it just seems like the D-line is not as deep, as good as it's been in previous years. And so that's a little bit concerned. I think linebacker, I'm not worried. I think linebackers were solid. I think they actually have the people in place from a corner standpoint and safety. I like the corners, the safeties, the linebackers. You know, obviously, if Bosa was there, the starting D-line would be good. I want to see more from Hargrave. I want to see more depth from the D-line. But I think overall, the biggest issue is probably Wilkes. And I'm not saying that he's going to have a disastrous season, but I think he's filling out his way with this defense and how he wants to run it with the blitzes and so forth. And I think overall, the Niners have not prepared roster-wise to stop the run. They seem to really struggle stopping the run. They don't have that big body guy that a lot of teams have. It's just not their MO. So we'll see. I mean, I think the 49ers defense could be good, but they could definitely take a step back this year as well.
I definitely could take a step back. I don't have questions about Fred Warner or Talanoa Hufanga. I think those two guys are pretty established. Tashawn Gibson, really good player, getting older, but they also have I feel like safety and middle linebacker, they're good. But let's talk Dre Greenlaw. I mean, he's hurt right now. Been hurt the last couple of weeks. He played 3 games 2 years ago. He misses games every year. I'm a little concerned about Greenlaw. I'm concerned about Hargrave. What kind of shape is he in? I'm concerned about Bosa. Where is he? I think they're missing Samson Ebukam. I think they're missing Jimmy Ward. I'm concerned about Cleveland Farrell, Drake Jackson, Isaiah Oliver. And then they're hyping up Ambry Thomas. Excuse me if I'm a little skeptical of that one. I know he's had some nice reps, but like he hasn't faced some wide receivers like he's going to have to face. And then Samuel Womack. I feel like there's a lot of questions with this defense. And we haven't even talked about their depth.
Yeah, I mean, to me, the biggest issue is the line, the D line, right? Like I'm okay with all the DBs. I think their defensive back unit is actually pretty strong if you look at it compared to previous years. Travers Ward, Diamador Lenore. I like Womack. He seems like a playmaker. Deshaun Jameson, we'll see what he ends up doing. Ambry Thomas, he struggled last year, but he seems to be doing better this year. And
Womack makes me nervous because he gives up big plays. Like he gave up a 40-yard catch to Tay Martin today. He's always really close, and then it goes up, and then the wide receiver catches the ball. Samuel Womack makes me nervous, even though he's close. Big plays.
I think to me, he looks good. I think that maybe the only thing that's hurting Womack is he seems small, but he's long, and he makes plays. He almost had an interception against the Raiders, or was it the Broncos? I forget, but he almost. Yeah. He was right there. I'm wondering with Isaiah Oliver if they feel like they need to keep him because they paid him and they brought him over, and it was Wilkes' guy. Because Quantrez Knight has looked pretty damn good as well, and it seems almost like he might be having a better offseason than Isaiah Oliver. So I'm not sure. I mean, maybe Isaiah Oliver will work out. I mean, still Steve Wilkes handpicked the guy, but so
They
far,
gave him a 2-year deal, man.
yeah.
They gave him a 2-year deal with almost $3 million guaranteed.
Sometimes I feel like they get stuck in these contracts, like because they've basically gave him a contract saying that they were the guy, that they kind of stick with it. Like you might see that with Moody, right? Because they spent that draft capital on him,
Right.
drafted him so high, they might keep him regardless of whether he's consistent or not, at least in the beginning.
Here's one reason to be a little concerned about Wilkes. I feel like he hasn't been a coordinator that long. I think he's been a coordinator 4 years in the NFL. He's a long-time DB coach.
Yeah.
And the DBs he brought in this year, Isaiah Oliver, Miles Hartsfield, Darrell Luter Jr.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll see what happens with Darrell Luter Jr.
Yeah.
I got high hopes for him, but I think Taylor Hawkins looks better than Miles Hartfield. And Isaiah Oliver, I haven't seen anything great from him at all yet. So that's going to hurt him reputation-wise if he goes and looks for a head coaching job, because that's a big part of what head coaches do, right? Spot talent, bring them in. And those guys are not, at least yet, they're not really exciting.
Here's my take on the defense from this offseason. They just kind of feel like they know their best player isn't there. They know D'Amico isn't there. And they're kind of just waiting for the season to start and Nick Bosa to show up. They don't feel like they have a whole lot to prove. Like last year, they were kicking Trey Lance's butt every day. This year, now they are intercepting Brock Purdy a lot, but I just feel like they're giving up so many underneath throws without really contesting him. They used to make Jimmy Garoppolo work for that stuff. This year, it's like, go ahead, Brock, man, keep checking it down. What
are their DBs filling in after they blitz? Because I know they're more aggressive on the blitz, and if they're blitzing but the DBs aren't filling in, maybe that's why all these underneath throws are available, because they're more aggressive that way.
All I know is that Jimmy Garoppolo tore up this defense in practice, and then Aiden O'Connell tore it up in a game. Russell Wilson was just running right through this defense. Like, they're still not good in short yardage. That was an issue for them last year. Yeah. They're still getting pushed off the ball in short yardage. They still can't contain a mobile quarterback. I'm not seeing like the improvements that Steve Wilkes has brought to this defense. Now, maybe once Nick Bosa comes back, it'll all click. But right now,
yeah. Well,
I don't know.
That's why I honestly, Grant, I was just thinking about it today, predicting the Pittsburgh game. I feel like the Niners are more talented, but I feel like Mike Tomlin is going to have those guys ready to go. And because it's an away game, I'm leaning Pittsburgh right now because of that. I feel like Shannon always starts slow. I'm concerned about the special teams, and I think Wilkes is going to take some time to fill out this defense. How aggressive can he be? Who should he play where, et cetera? I think it's going to take some time. So it's entirely possible the 49ers start slow, but they got the talent there that I'm assuming at some point they'll figure it out and work it out.
Yeah, I think Niner fans are going to be – the Javon Hargrave experience is going to be interesting because they're giving him basically the contract they didn't give Buckner. Buckner's like an Iron Man. He's on the field 4 to 5 snaps. He's mostly out there. Hargrave isn't like that at all. I think he's the kind of guy you have out there, 3 out of 5 snaps kind of guy, 60% of the time. Paying him a lot of money, so he's got to really produce when he's out there, and he's not an asset against the run. He's got to get their sacks.
He's built like a run stopper,
but he's not.
He's not a run stopper.
He's not a run stopper. So.